Hello, beautiful, scintillating souls, and welcome to the very first episode of Manifest Her Magic. I'm your host, Claudia McGuigan, and I am beyond excited to embark on this journey with you. And today, I just want to take some time to introduce myself and share a little bit about why I got into this wonderful, incredible work of manifestation and conscious creation. And I also want to talk about what manifestation is, and more importantly, what it is not. And manifestation is so often misunderstood. So I want to make sure that I clear that up right from the start. But manifestation is about creating your reality through your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. And it's the practice of aligning your mindset and your energy with your desires so that you can attract and achieve what you truly want in life. It's not magic in the sense of waving a magic wand and having everything appear instantly, but it's more of a process it's a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. And so let's go back to my beginnings with manifestation. And ever since I remember, I've always felt a deep calling to understand how we can shape our lives. And I've also always felt this connection to something invisible that I could not see, but I always could hear it calling me in some shape or another. And I can tell you a whole bunch of stories, and I probably will as the episodes go on, but I really felt this deep need for connection to a higher power. And I grew up in a household that was not at all religious. We never went to church. There was never any discussion about spirituality or connection to something bigger than ourselves. But I remember in high school, I felt really called to start learning about different religions. And in college, I remember I was really drawn to ancient Egyptian religions, and I would read some of the ancient Egyptian texts, and I felt like I was home, which is weird, I know, but that's how I felt. And so I always felt that there was something there, something invisible. And when I was working, I was living in London at the time, and I had a colleague. She was borrowing a pair of high heels from me. And as a thank you for loaning me her high heels, she said, "Oh, I have this book for you. I don't really want it. Here, thank you so much for the high heels." And the book that she gave me was The Secret. And I remember reading it and thinking, gosh, this is fascinating. This really speaks to me. And I like these ideas. So at the time, I was working at an online clothing retailer, and I was very clear that I wanted to be a merchandising director. And at the time, I was like an entry-level assistant merchandiser. You don't need to know the sort of the stages, but essentially I wasn't there. I wasn't close. And every night before I went to bed, I would envision myself as a merchandising director. I would think to myself about how I would feel as a merchandising director. And I would fall asleep imagining this every night. And then I also had about a 30-minute journey or a commute from my home to my workplace. And so I used to just pop on headphones and listen to music that really got my soul moving, and also imagine this reality for myself. Now, this was 2009, and the recession finally hit the UK. And they told us, they pulled us in together. They pulled us into the whole company, into this room, and they said, guys, we need to tighten our belts. So as a result, there will be a hiring freeze, and we are not promoting anyone at this time. So there's a promotion freeze as well. Well, I was a bit bummed, but I continued to embody this energy of a merchandising director. And I would think about, how does she act? How does she feel? How does she dress? How does she talk? And I just kept going. And within 3 months, no joke, I was called into my boss's office. And he said, Claudia, we're really impressed with the work that you've been doing. And so to recognize your efforts, we would like to give you a promotion. And I just sat there kind of dumbfounded, and I was like, I thought we weren't giving promotions. And he said, yes, that's true. We do have a promotion freeze. However, we wanted to make an exception for you. And I got a pay rise, and I moved up a level, and I was in shock. Well, again, maybe like 8 months later, I was again called into his office, and I was again offered another promotion. 2 promotions within a year. That never, ever happened in our company. And I wouldn't say that it's because I'm brilliant, I'm amazing, but I feel like the manifestation, the energy that I was bringing was helping others to see me in that light as well. And so even though we were told it was impossible, there are no promotions, I got 2. And so I have been using manifestation methods on and off in my life, since then. And I would say that there were times when I definitely was not consistent, when I was not paying attention. And, from my teenage years, I really struggled with anxiety and depression. And I was looking for alternative ways to sort of relieve that. And I knew that through connection was a way that I was going to be able to break through. And I learned how to meditate, and I was journaling, and I started voraciously reading pretty much every book on manifestation you could find. I would listen to podcasts. I just did everything. And essentially, my life, what I wasn't manifesting, or what I wasn't manifesting consciously, because you're always manifesting, right? You're always manifesting. Just sometimes you're conscious of what you're manifesting, and sometimes you're not. And it's so interesting because it was 8 years ago, exactly 8 years ago today, because today is my 8 years of sobriety anniversary. And I feel like it's not a coincidence that I have sat down to record my first podcast on this day. And my life was becoming unmanageable. Like, I was getting ready to hit rock bottom. I had a terrible eating disorder. I was obviously using drugs and alcohol, and I just was a tornado. And I felt like I just wrecked everything that I touched. And so I wanted to really get in touch with my higher power. I wanted to stop these thoughts about myself. Like, I really disliked myself. Like, it wasn't even I just didn't like myself. Like, I actively disliked myself. And so how could I start to learn how to love myself and love all of these parts of me that I was embarrassed of or ashamed of, and live the life that I felt and I knew deep down that I truly deserved. I was living beneath my potential. And so I really dove into spirit guides and angel numbers and different manifestation practices and quantum physics and neuroscience. And I just ate it all up. And I thought, okay, I am going to figure this out. There are so many books that say so many different things. Or it's really confusing. And I was like, I'm going to take everything I know about all of this stuff and I am going to put it together and I'm going to create myself a method. And I feel like I have definitely, I wouldn't say it's necessarily perfect yet, but I am very, very sure, or not sure, you should never be sure about anything, but I feel deeply that I'm almost there. And I was working as a teacher, I was working with adolescents, and I saw, particularly post-COVID, how much anxiety and depression was taking over these young children. And for me, who during my teen years struggled so much that I no longer wanted to live, standing on the sidelines and feeling like I was not doing anything meaningful was no longer an option for me. And it became clear to me that I was like, I have been teaching really difficult things to students for the last 11 years. And I always got the feedback that, Mrs. McGuigan, you are really great at making really difficult and challenging concepts simple and easy for us to understand. And I was like, this is my zone of genius. And I didn't set out to be a manifestation coach. I didn't set out to teach this, but I knew though still that there was something missing. I had the job that I manifested. I was getting a lot of the things that I was manifesting, but something was still missing. And what I was doing was I was manifesting experiences and things from a place of wanting other people's approval or waiting for other people's permission or doing what I thought other people wanted of me. And so, of course, I was not living in true alignment. And what happened was I was applying for jobs, and these were jobs that people were like, oh, this is totally, you're gonna get it. And I kept at the final stages of every job that I applied for. I would get to the finalist round and I would get really great feedback, and then I would get denied. And I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, universe, something is going on here, and I need you to tell me what to do. I need you to use me as a vessel. I need some clear directions on where to go, because for the last 18 months, I have been feeling like, when you get a word, you have a word and it's on the tip of your brain, you cannot remember what that word is. You remember what letter it starts with, but you cannot remember what the word is. That is what I felt about my purpose. I felt like there was something there on me and I couldn't quite get it. I couldn't quite figure out what I was supposed to do. And then I surrendered. I said, okay, I'm not going to try and control this anymore. And I was in the bathroom, I was blow drying my hair, and out of nowhere, I got a message, you need to start an Instagram account teaching people about manifestation. And my first thought was, oh no, no, I am not doing that. I am not putting myself out there in front of other people to see and mock me. I'm not about to share all of these beliefs that I have and all of these experiences that I've had, which people might think makes me sound a little bit insane. I had this idea of, well, people are going to think that I, love myself, or I do love myself, but people are going to think that I'm narcissistic, for taking videos of myself and posting it, and only cringy people do that. And it was still though like, no, you need to do it. And I was like, but I'm not an expert. And it was like, you actually know more than you think. I was like, gosh, okay. So I did it. I created the account. I did not tell anybody about it. I didn't even tell my husband about it. I was so embarrassed. And actually, when my son found my account, I was so deeply embarrassed, but he wrote me a text message and said, I love this. Mommy, I am so proud of you. So that was that. But I was unsure, and I went a few days after I started the account. I went to get I went to go see a Reiki master, and she was doing the energy work on me. And at the end of the session, she sat me down and she said, I am getting this energy, and I feel like I'm getting an influencer social media vibe, and all I can say is keep going forward. And I was like, oh, wow. So that was basically the birth of Manifest Her Magic. And I don't know what is to become of it, but what I'm doing is staying open and allowing the universe to move through me and to direct me how I should live my soul's purpose. So now let's dive into manifestation and what it is truly about. So at its core, manifestation is the belief that our thoughts and feelings shape our reality. It's grounded in the understanding that the universe responds to our energy that we put out. And the law of attraction is not synonymous with manifestation. The law of attraction is part of manifesting, because like energy attracts like energy, but it's not the whole kit and caboodle necessarily. And when we focus on our thoughts, having empowering thoughts, and truly believe in our dreams, then we start to attract those experiences into our lives. So let's break it down. So the thoughts and beliefs part. So your thoughts are really powerful. And what you think about is what you bring about. And I think some people struggle with this idea that thoughts have power and energy behind them because they can't see them. But you also cannot see the sun's rays. And so no one would deny, though, that the sun's rays aren't powerful, that they can't materially change things in this world. And so that's the same thing. Is just because you can't see that energy doesn't mean it doesn't exist and it doesn't have power behind it. And it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. I think sometimes manifestation is, people think it's synonymous with like false, toxic positivity. But it's really about believing what you desire is possible and that you deserve it. And we have limiting beliefs, and our limiting beliefs can hold us back. And it's essential to identify and shift those beliefs that don't serve our highest good. And so when we think about alignment and energy, so when we align our energy with our desires, that means that you feel as if what you want is already yours. So for example, when I was wanting to become a merchandising director, I embodied that energy. I thought about, what do I need to think like? How do I need to speak? what would a merchandising director think about? What would they feel? And so when you embody that energy and when you feel like it's already yours, that's aligning your energy. And it's about cultivating those emotions and vibrations that match your desired outcome. And everything is energy, and energy is everything. So the way that you feel, the vibes that you put out, your vibration, because you are constantly vibrating. Our brains cannot perceive it, but we are in ecstatic motion at all times. And so when we put out those vibes, they play a crucial role in what you attract. And the other thing is, manifestation is not about sitting back and waiting for things to happen. It's about taking inspired action towards your goals. And when I opened myself up to the universe, I was given breadcrumbs. You have to also think about how you pay attention to the breadcrumbs that are given to you. And you have to act on those. It's not going to fall out of the sky. But when you act in alignment with your desires, then you create momentum. And it's also about listening to your intuition and following the guidance that you receive from within. And then another piece of it is about practicing gratitude and having trust. So practicing gratitude shifts your focus from what you already have, and it raises your vibration and attracts more of what you want. So many times people focus on what they want and they notice they don't have it yet. And then that creates all sorts of feelings, which are frustration, anger, despondency, I don't know, right? All of those feelings that you feel, the negative feelings, which will not help you get to where you want to go. And so when we become grateful for what we already have, we can cultivate those feelings that we're searching for in the now. And trusting the process is key. So sometimes the universe has a different timeline or a better plan than we can see. And I don't know how many times I have been rejected. Like I told you, I applied for those jobs and I got rejected and I was upset. But then there's always something better around the corner. You have to believe that something wonderful is always about to happen and that the universe has your back. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about neuroscience and how neuroscience ties into all of this. So our brains are incredibly powerful. They are insanely powerful. And understanding how our brains work can enhance our ability to manifest our desires. And so our brains have the ability to change and adapt all throughout our lives. And this is a concept known as neuroplasticity. And this means that we can rewire our thought patterns and our beliefs to align with our desires. And when we consistently focus on empowering thoughts and we use affirmations to reprogram our subconscious mind, then we create new neural pathways that support our goals and our aspirations. And we will dive deeper into the neuroscience of manifestation, but know that your brain is incredibly powerful, an incredible tool, and yet it is not entirely accurate. It likes to fill in gaps. And what happens is that we take in about 14 million pieces of information every second. We only have the ability to consciously be aware of about 40 to 50 of them. That means that there are a whole ton of things that we are not paying attention to consciously. And so we put a lot of stock into our senses of taste, touch, smell, hearing. I can't even remember all of them. But those things aren't accurate because it depends on what you're paying attention to. And people are like, well, reality is reality. But actually, reality for you is what you were paying attention to. And so just know that when we program our brain through visualization and positive and empowering affirmations, we tell our brain what to pay attention to. And we can better align our daily experiences with our desired outcomes. And the other piece, which is really helpful and important to manifesting, is the sense of mindfulness and stress reduction. So practicing mindfulness helps reduce the stress and anxiety that hijacks our brain, and they are major blockers to manifestations. So when our minds are calm and focused, we can begin to clearly envision and work towards our goals, because our minds are distracted. More and more our brains are getting distracted. And when we are not paying attention, and this is what I always teach is the first part of manifestation, is to learn how to pay attention. If we don't know how to pay attention, we will miss the cues and the signposts that the universe is showing us to get to where we need to be. So techniques like meditation and breathing, all of those activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which takes us out of fight and flight and freeze and into rest and digest, and promotes relaxation and a positive state of mind, which is conducive to manifestation. So we covered a lot, but let's just be really clear on what manifestation is not. So manifestation is not about wishful thinking without any effort. It's not a quick fix or a way to bypass personal growth and challenges. And it doesn't mean ignoring your reality and living in denial of what's happening around you. But you can shift it. So in this podcast, in our following episodes, we're going to explore all aspects of manifestation, how to identify and shift your limiting beliefs, how to align your energy and your desires, and how to take inspired action, how to cultivate gratitude, and how to trust in the process. And I will share stories and practical tips to help you on your manifestation journey. So thank you so much for joining me on this first episode of Manifest Her Magic. I can't wait to share more with you in the coming weeks. And remember, you have the power to create your reality. So stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll dive deeper into manifestation. And until next time, keep believing, keep manifesting, and keep shining your light.